This is the philosophy of a tree. Live a simple life. You may ask, what do you mean by live a simple life? In a world full of complicated things, how could you live a simple life? Here's what I have to say about that. You have to change the way you view things. Your mindset, your vision, both in your mind and in your eyes. I want you to write down what you see when you look at a tree. Yes, it's odd, but pause the video, write one sentence about what you see when you look at a tree. We're back. You're back? You wrote it down? All right. Here's what I think when I see a tree. A tree can teach you so much more about life than you'd ever think. When I see a tree, I see life. You might say, oh, this guy clicked this video and, he's telling me he see life in a tree, blah, 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 photosynthesis. All right, cliche, I get it. But just bear with me for a moment. Can you see yourself through that tree? Can you relate to that tree? How can a tree teach you something although it doesn't speak? See, a tree might not speak to you with words, but its presence speaks for itself. Cliche again. All right, bear with me again. As humans living in a world full of innovation and technology, we tend to forget how to look at things. Some might say we only truly see only once as a child. And I tend to agree with that. And then we forget after seeing it once to look deeper because we get used to just seeing trees everywhere, especially where I'm from. See, that maple tree you're staring at is more than just a tree. And it's more than just life. It's the representation of a being living in this world. If you could look at that tree through the seasons for a few years, you'd realize it changes constantly, just like you do. It grows, sometimes straight, sometimes crooked. It chases the sunlight, seeking the perfect environment to keep growing, and eventually it blooms, just like you do. Or do you? Can you tell yourself you're surrounded by people and communities that help you keep growing? Or are you stuck in the shadows, unable to bloom? A tree doesn't bloom or grow leaves in the dead of winter, does it now? It goes through a rough patch on the outside. It may look ugly, but it's not dead by any means. Can you start to see yourself through that tree? It might look dead, but it's doing a lot of internal work to stay alive and come back stronger for the next season. The biggest growth is done in the dark and through hardships. You learn life lessons and discover who you are in the hardest times, never in the best times. Being out of your comfort zone challenges you to become better, stronger, prettier. A maple tree doesn't look pretty at the end of winter, yet it gives us one of its greatest gifts in maple syrup. It worked internally through its hardest period to be ready to give back. Or I could make you view it from a different angle. Sometimes things look bland or uninteresting from the outside, but when you poke a hole in the maple tree during spring, it gives you something unexpected, something good, something you could have never seen from the surface. Just like you, me, and every other being on this planet. People are far more interesting than we originally think once you start poking at them. You realize that there's far more to them than you could ever imagine. So go out there and ask questions. Learn to know people again and again, and let others know who you are. Let people into your person, your dreams, your aspiration. Love and accept the love. After all, it takes a village to raise us. Just like trees, you rarely see a tree completely alone with nothing else living around it. When its leaves fall, they nurture the ground, which then nurtures other plants and other trees. They grow next to each other, sharing the sunlight and feeding the ecosystem. Without community, nothing lives. A lone tree will perish just like a lone wolf, a lone human being, or any other living creature. Now, how deep are you thinking of that tree? Can you see anything else it does that relates to you? If yes, write it down. I want you to write it down again. Pause the video, write it down, and then start the video again. Whether you wrote something or not is totally fine. I'm just challenging you to try to think further than just the surface. Here's the biggest learning point I want you to remember. A tree doesn't grow tall in a single day. It takes time. It takes years, it takes the right environment, and it doesn't magically bear fruit. It gets tested day by day, year by year, and it faces challenges, and some years are harder than others. It doesn't bloom or bear fruit immediately. It matures first. It settles into its environment, learns how to fight through the different seasons, and eventually it understands how to bear fruit and give back to the environment that nurtured it. With that said, live, learn, be sad, be happy, fight your demons, love, cry, cherish the simple moments as much as you cherish the hardships, because all those events happen for the simple reason to shape the person you were, are, and are destined to become. This piece was never truly about a tree. It was always about you. Your perspective, your mindset, the way you look at things and think about things. Can you truly take the time to learn the lessons your environment is actively teaching you? Are you nurturing your surrounding as much as they're nurturing you? And can you see the good in the bad, as well as the benefits of simple versus complicated? And just like the short text, it doesn't take anything big to make a positive impact. Sometimes the smallest things have the biggest impact. Until next time.